retail leakage categories. So we can all raise our hands and we can all say, I don't want this, or I only want this type of retail. I need this. But what the leakage analysis is looking at, it's looking at dollars that are leaving this community by industry and telling us where your dollars are leaking or leaving the trade area. Now, why that matters, dollars leaving the trade area are sales tax dollars that could be used on potholes, that could be used on raises for the police officers, or the firefighters, stuff like that. That goes into the general budget. It could be used on the city. And so when we're leaking certain categories of retail, what that's saying is the residents don't have what they need here in order to thrive, in order to shop, in order to dine, okay? So when we look at, there's over 15 different categories of retail. The biggest leakage is in automotive dealers or automotive parts and dealers. So about $42 million a year leaks for automotive. Now, I grew up in the Rockland area. Next to Rockland is the Roseville Auto Mall. Even though we were right next door to the Roseville Auto Mall, we had a big leakage, right? So it's not uncommon. Things like furniture, things like automobiles, they locate together in an area because you're going to drive and you're going to pick a car once you get to one of the 4 or 5 different dealers. But it does beg the question, like, if there's somebody that's got some property, somebody that's got some land, would used cars do well here, right? There's opportunity here. People are leaving this trade area for automobiles. General merchandise is another opportunity. $30 million leaking the community in general merchandise. When you think general merchandise, that's your Kohl's, your Target, that's your Walmart type of purchases. So if you have a business downtown, you might think about your shelf allocation. Are there things that we can offer and add to our downtown or in our existing store spaces that would serve and kind of fill some of that leakage? And then restaurants. Restaurants is a big one, $24 million in leakage. Now, we can actually jump into the data even further and see breakdowns of sit-down dining versus liquor or wine or beer versus fast food, fast casual. But overall, there's a $24 million leakage in restaurants, okay? So this is looking at numbers, again, as a national picture and how the national retail world is looking at Greenfield, okay? You go next slide for me. All right, now this is a little bit harder to see, but this is the visitor orientation. So what we did is we drew a polygon around 246 El Camino Real. And in that polygon, we're then able to look at every cell phone that comes into that polygon and trace it back to their home location. So what you're seeing here, a dot on the map, is a cell phone, the home location of a cell phone that was in Greenfield or in that parking lot in the past 12 months, okay? So you've got people from Las Vegas, from Reno, you've got people from Stockton and Sacramento, obviously Monterey, Bakersfield, okay? So just interesting to know, again, if you're a shop owner, some shops downtown have a little guest book, you know, and you've got a feeling for where people are coming from. This might just be a need to know more than a need to know, but this is just showing you where visitors are actually coming from. 75% of visits originated outside of 32 miles away, okay? So again, if you're a store owner downtown, where are we advertising? You know, are we advertising in King City to come visit us downtown? Where are we advertising? It's not about shrinking our advertising dollars. It might be putting it into better places. It looks like San Jose has a lot of people that come here, right? And so we'll get to what we're here for, to talk about promotion and organization and what we should be talking about our downtown. But this is just a good example that there's a lot of people that visit and experience Greenfield. And now how can we make it more sticky? How can we make them come back a couple of times, right? And how do we make them enjoy it more when they're here? Okay. Okay, this one is looking at the time of day that they're here, the time of year, and the hour of day. Now, this is data that we're pulling, and it's giving us these results this is where I'm going to throw out the first question and just kind of see if you guys can help paint a picture for us. But there are big spikes. Probably can't see it, but on the left side of the screen here, the left side, yep. We've got July. July, there's pretty big spikes. We've got, it looks like August, there's some big spikes. January, right down there in the middle, is the biggest spike. It continues. February looks like it spikes. And then again, really April and July. So times of year, those are your spikes and when there's more visitors downtown. Any thoughts to that? No? Okay, let's dive deeper in. Hour of day, the most common time that people are downtown. These are visitors from outside of 10 miles away coming to downtown. 11 to 12 a.m., 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. And then also 5 p.m. spikes again. Why would that be? There we go. All right, now we got the engagement going. I think that's probably right? Lunch and dinner makes a lot of sense there. Now this one, when Greg and I were looking at the data, this was a big question. So day of week, Tuesday is the most commonly found cell phone that we were able to find in the area. Is there something that goes on downtown Tuesdays that we don't know about, or anything that you could think of? Like Tuesday is the most busy day? I love it. Love it.
Are people off on Tuesdays, or is there?
Again, this is a 12-month look. So it's looking at data every day for 12 months. And Tuesday is the biggest spike. Okay.
What time?
Any thoughts at time of year? I mean, honestly, it might be payday. Yes. Business travel for Tuesdays? Okay.
Downtown. Typically, you don't want to go out of town on Monday. That's when you're trying to deal with everything that occurred over the weekend. Tuesday's the best travel day. You're off to traveling into various things, whether it's ag business, whatever. And then typically you're on your way back on Wednesday or so.
Okay. Very good. I like the guessing. I mean, one thing that we're going to do is we're going to try and dive into this data more and figure out what those spikes might be for. But yes. That's a good question. So I intentionally carved out the donut and took out local folks because local folks were so commonly found downtown. I can do a follow-up and actually run that, put the donut hole back in and see how that changes things. That's a great question.
December usually turns a little bit closer to ghost town here, just because everyone's visiting their families, going home for the holidays, and usually January is when everybody starts coming back. Airfare is a little cheaper, so that's usually the days people start, filtering back in. So that's why I wanted to know, could that be because all the locals coming back?
That's a great point. Great question. Great thought.
I didn't see it on the front here.
Yeah, January spikes, right? That's what I was. Yeah. December's down. December's real low, which in a downtown, you would expect December to be high. Why is that? Right? Some Christmas shopping, right? Like most every town that we're going to run this data in, December is going to spike big if there's Christmas shopping done downtown. It's good. That's great analysis. Early July. Thoughts on early July?
Yeah, we have a 4th of July actual fireworks celebration on the 4th of July. That's pretty well attended.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know what else.
There you go. Have you guys been discussing in City Hall whether it makes a dent or if people are actually coming? Because the data suggests that both sides spike.
Yeah, last year we actually did a little survey on cell phone data through Placer AI, and it showed that event at that location, there was about 4,000 or 5,000 people throughout the day at that location. So
that's great. And as we get further into the presentation, when we talk about organization and advertising of the events and stuff, like when we have great events like that, bringing 4,000 to 5,000 people to town, We want to make sure that downtown businesses are all working together. If one's got a sidewalk sale, they should all have a sidewalk sale in that time, right? And that's not only for the business owners, that's also, we got to work with the city to make sure like we've got ordinances that we allow sidewalk sales and stuff like that. We don't run from it. Yes.
I know that December is the time where like our families do leave to travel because the school's closed.
Yep.
It's their time to go. But January, they're still on vacation. So after the New Year's, the families come back and sometimes they bring back their family members to stay with them for a couple more weeks until the school's open.
It's good. Yeah. Yep. Back to school spike. Okay. All right. Any questions online? Okay. Yep. Next slide. Okay. So now we're going to start to look at who is coming to Greenfield. So this is super nerdy, but it's also very cool. Okay. So we partner with Experian. If you've ever run a credit report, Experian provides your credit score. And so Experian has what's called Mosaic 71. They break every household into one of 71 unique segments. So classically, we'd say, if you go to your home and you look up and down the street, the people that look like me, live like me, you know, they've got a couple kids in the house, they whatever. And so that's demographics. Demographics tell you age, race, ethnicity. Psychographics tell you about inside the household, right? So a classic example, kind of a sad example. I used to be cool. I used to tell all my friends I can go to Buffalo Wild Wings whenever we want, you know, and I'll hang out. Truth is, I got a 1, a 7, and 10-year-old. So I'm never going to Buffalo Wild Wings, right? But I can tell my friends I'm super cool and I can go to Buffalo Wild Wings. However, the data, the cookie trail that I leave behind with my purchases is on diapers, right? It's on wipes. It's not on Buffalo Wild Wings, okay? And so while I can pretend to be cool and the guy that can go to all the fights and the stuff, that's not really who I am from a spending perspective, okay? So what we want to look at is who's coming to downtown. We want to look at who's coming to downtown. How do they live their lives and spend their money? And then maybe we have opportunity to capture them. Now, this is actually a unique look at the grocery store, San Miguel Markets. This is, I actually drew the grocery store and the parking lot. Now, what's unique about the parking lot there? Does anybody know? Bingo. We got the Tesla supercharger. So as we get deeper into data and we start uncovering more data, maybe we want to study how that than another grocery store or another parking lot, or maybe that, right? But this is just looking at, and so could there be some skewed data in here because of that? I think this is interesting to learn because these are people that are stopping in Greenfield. Now, are we catering to them to come into Greenfield and downtown and be more than just charging their Teslas, right? So anyways, when we look at the different types of households, there's a group called Progressive Assortment. That makes up 5.5% of the visitors that we found inside of inside the data. So these are mature couples with comfortable and active lives in established suburbs. They're bilingual, ethnically diverse, urban-centric, comfortable spending. They're sports fans, and they have comfortable lifestyles. Okay? Now remember, this is looking at removing 10 miles. There's a donut, so this is taking out Greenfield, and this is looking at people that are coming from 10 miles away or greater. Okay? So when you hear about some of these types of people, does this make you think of neighboring cities? Is this like you hear that and you're like, oh, that's San Jose or that's Soledad, or any thoughts there? No? Okay. Let's talk about the next group. So this makes up 5.4%. These are cosmopolitan achievers, affluent middle-aged couples and families enjoying dynamic lifestyles in metro areas. They're bilingual. They're into luxury living. They're soccer fans. They're 2-family properties, they have economic literacy, and they're also progressive liberals, okay? So again, What is this data telling us? How is this actionable? Are we doing anything downtown that would drive these people from filling up their Tesla to working their way downtown and buying a coffee or whatever, right? Then we've got family troopers, 4.6%. These are affluent middle-aged couples and families enjoying dynamic lifestyles in metro areas. They're renters. They're typically found near military bases, ethnically diverse. They're parents, so they're going to have kids in the household. Modest educations, and they're tech savvy. Okay. Was that a question? Stretching? Yeah. Okay. All right. So anyways, these are the types of people that we're finding in the downtown data. Okay. Or excuse me, that was in the grocery store data. Okay. So we can dive into data. We can get further into analytics. We can slice and dice data in many different ways. But we just want to give you a little bit of a kind of a peek into who is coming to Greenfield and how we can then dive deeper into capitalize on these types of people. Okay. When we start to think about the pillars of a thriving downtown, I mentioned this earlier, but the 4 pillars, according to Main Street America, are economic vitality, design, promotion, and organization. Okay. There's a lot of towns that will come in and they want to design a city that'll pull people from far away. What we believe is if you build a city, build a downtown for those that are close, it'll draw people from far, right? So instead of trying to reinvent the wheel and be something we're not, let's lean in to who we are. Let's lean into what is the best of Greenfield, okay? So this is where we're going to really lean on you guys now to give us some more background. So first off, we're going to talk economic vitality, and that's how we build diverse economic base, catalyze smart new investment, and cultivate a strong entrepreneurship system. Okay. Want to go next slide? Okay. So I mentioned, I don't know if everyone was in here yet, but one of the ways nationally we look at a downtown is through a walkability score. Okay. And so when you're measuring a downtown, you want to look at what type of amenities can be found within a 5 to a 30-minute walk. Okay. And so when we look at downtown Greenfield, it actually scores as a 76. Does that shock anybody? You guys, overall, do we like downtown? Do we feel like it's good? Because the overall walkability score is pretty high. Okay. A 76 is really good. Now, the very first thing I said is Greg and I believe there's great bones here, right? We've got the structure. There's a lot of downtowns that have 1 or 2 things and then nothing, right? We have a lot of buildings. We have a lot to play with. We got some walkability. Now it's just kind of breathing life into it, right? So 76 is what we consider very walkable. Most errands can be accomplished on foot. When it looks at from 246 El Camino Real, we've got grocery stores are pretty prevalent. Culture and entertainment, everything is above 50% in this scoring. So 76 is a pretty good score. Okay, but there's room to improve. All right. So let's dive in and let's get a little bit more interactive. Okay, when we talk about economic vitality, again, what we're looking at here, economic vitality means taking a proactive, collaborative approach to building a growing and diverse economic base. I mentioned this just a second ago. If a downtown business is having a sidewalk sale or something like that, and no one else is, that's failure, right? We want to draw people down here. We want to give them plenty of options when they're down here. So we got to work together, all right? We also, as downtown businesses, this is going to be hard to hear. We can't look at everything as competition. A rising tide raises all ships, right? And so if we have more options for shopping, for grocery, for dining, everyone's going to have to clean their tables better. Everyone's going to have to turn their tables faster. Pricing might get more competitive as well. Okay. Now that's easy for me to say. I'm not one investing in a business downtown, but I've seen it time and time again. And that if we can be more welcoming to outside businesses that come open a location, we're going to start to see growth in the downtown. Okay. So our goal today is to engage community leaders. We want to create an inventory. So we want to start to learn, what do we have here that maybe is a sleeping giant? Maybe it's something that we're not aware of. And then we're going to work to establish some partnerships coming out of this as well. So let's dive into our first question on economic vitality. This is where you guys all come in. What is unique about our downtown that we should celebrate and build upon? No one be shy here. What's unique? Yes. Oh, here. Yeah.
That is bringing in a lot of people from everywhere. And they do have outside seating and they do serve alcohol.
And what restaurant's that?
Rinconcito? Rinconcito. It's in the middle.
Okay.
And, you know, we go in there to go eat. There's people from Salinas, Monterey, everywhere. We have another restaurant at the end of town that has outdoor seating also. I think that's a big plus for us, you know, and I think it's really worked for the restaurants. They're busy, and I think that you see some of the spike from the time that you were showing on the chart was with a lot of people. You can't even get a table in there on the weekends.
That's good. That's real good. Yeah, thank you.
One thing that I think is relatively unique is it seems like the bulk of the businesses are actually on El Camino Real. That it doesn't go very deep, you know, east or west. It's right there.
Yeah.
And for good or for bad, I don't know how to interpret that, but I think it's relatively unique.
I think it gives us a focus area, right? And that's what a lot of downtowns want, is that you want a clear start and stop, because then you can build a business district around it where beautification happens, who qualifies for some assistance, stuff like that. Like, I think it gives a cleaner break to that type of stuff. And it really gives the city a chance to build a heartbeat around, you know, downtown and make it very clear where that's at. Yeah.
How tight knit is the downtown, you know, the business owners, do they all know each other? Do they, you know, are they close? Do they know each other by name? Because that can be a unique aspect of downtown that can be really valuable. I'm just curious, you know, how tight knit is the community, particularly along the downtown. And maybe the answer is there isn't any. That's okay too.
Greenfield has open spaces and parks on several ends of our downtown. We have a park in front of our library as well as a gazebo with a park. So I think that makes a great place for people to come and meet on our downtown. That's not just shopping, but also recreational and a social benefit space.
That's great. It's great. Yeah, we want as many shared spaces as we can get, and the more we promote those spaces through different activities and events, the better it's going to be. The more the citizens are going to realize, hey, this is a place for me as well. That's good. Anyone else? What is unique about the downtown? So we've got some unique restaurants. We've got some unique park space. What else is unique?
What makes us very unique is that, you know, there's other activities for kids downtown, such as the Science Museum, which is right here on the main strip at 9th. And then there is another museum that's where the old police office was. That's another museum. So it does attract our youth to come downtown. Besides going to the parks to play, you know, sports, we have other after school activities that help drive, you know, the parents to come downtown with their kids a little bit more.
Great. Yeah. And I mean, you'd have to be driving blind to drive down your downtown and not see. I think that's one of the coolest aspects, is that the high school just bleeds out right into downtown. And when the couple times that we've toured over the last couple months, I guess when school was in session, but I mean, they're filling up, you know, the lines at different restaurants and stuff. And that's something that should be embraced. And again, if you're a business owner, think about how you can lean into that further. Like that's a unique thing that not a lot of downtowns have. The high school just pouring out right into downtown, right? So, you know, when I was young, many years ago, loitering was a bad thing. Nowadays, loitering can be embraced, and give free Wi-Fi, let the kids hang out. They might buy a coffee. You know, they probably won't, but let them see your space as a good spot, as a spot that they can hang out and be part of the community. So think about loitering as it was a dirty word, it still is, but like, think about loitering, like how can we embrace that, change it from loitering to just hanging out and being a space that the kids can use.
One of my observations, some of the buildings have pretty unique architecture as well. It might not be showcased because of the way that it's painted or whatever, but, there's that historical architecture.
Yeah.
At least that was what I know.
Yep. And that plays into what we mean by there's great bones downtown. There's, like you said, good walkable area, nice. It's very clear what is Main Street. And then the great buildings that some of them could be revitalized a little bit, probably reused, but okay. Anyone else on this question? Anyone else that you might be alone in this, but you think this is unique about our downtown? This is something that we should celebrate.
Earlier, I was speaking with a resident from King City. Sister, do you come over to Greenfield often? And she said that if she does, she comes to shop at Shop Beautiful Varieties, which is a clothing store that's become widely more popular.
Huh. And I saw all three of them shaking their heads up and down. All right. Yeah. What is it that makes it popular?
I think it just sells clothes that is more trendy for us. It's mostly sells merchandise for women, but I feel like for us, it's more trendy for us, and it looks very nice on the inside, which attracts us to it.
Doesn't buy. What'd you say the name of the business was? Shop Beautiful Varieties.
Is my hand up?
What's that?
I don't see your hand up, but go ahead.
I don't know how to raise my hand. Hi. Another feature of downtown is relatively new, but I really like it, is the banner program. For the class of 2024, they were able to put up senior pictures, and I'm looking forward to the veteran banners, but that's another nice feature.
Very cool. I love that. Well, so we put high school seniors on there. We put veterans on there. Guys that lead workshops downtown.
I don't know about
Right.
that.
Maybe get Greg and I on there. Okay. All right. I said we're gonna have some fun. You guys haven't laughed yet. All right. Okay, let's jump to the next question. And again, online, feel free if you can't raise your hand, just raise your voice. That works great. Okay, who is our ideal visitor or customer, and what draws them to our downtown?
The people with money.
People with money.
I mean, they're coming by, people are traveling through, they have money because they're on their way somewhere. And they know they're going to make stops, whether it's food or fuel. And I think having the shops that we have, the stores, they're so small that it's a quick stop. Many of our travelers just want to come in, get what they want, whether it's La Plaza Bakery, it's, what you're going to get. There's a True Value, what you're going to get. Our beauty salons and barbershops, but exactly what you're going to get. The shops are like boutique style, so it's enough I'm in a hurry, I know exactly where I need to go. As far as locals, I know exactly what stores to go to get that one little thing I need. But our ideal people are the people who are driving the 101 with a lot of money, looking for a place to spend it.
Okay, I love it. Now let's talk about that for a second. This was Jonathan's iPhone's got a hand up, and then I'll go to my dovetail.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Okay, yeah. So like the ideal person is, like she said, people who are traveling that have money, but then it's also the people in our town too that have money, but we don't have any place to spend it. As being someone who's in, my 30s, I want something to go to where I want to spend my money, but I'm having to travel to Salinas, to our other partners, to spend my money because they have my needs and my wants. But also here, I try to still shop locally, but they don't always have what I want and need. So it's like, I want to spend my money and keep it in town, but how can I keep it in town when I have to go somewhere else to rely on other sources?
Great. It's great. And let's not sleep on what we talked about we got the high school that's letting kids out downtown. One thing I know, when I was in high school, I did not have money, right? And so are there creative memberships that can be had, right? Can $20 a month get you unlimited coffee? I don't know. Are kids drinking coffee? I don't drink coffee. I don't know if high schoolers drink coffee. But yeah, but like something something that like it's easy for their parents to pay for once, and now those kids can come out and be a customer of yours. Yes.
Yes, comment in Spanish.
Yes.
Yo nomás quería también hacer una cuestión que antes en el shopping center muchos carros llegaban porque había un buen restaurante, había un buen lugar de pizza, de diferentes clases de pizza. Y como ahorita que hay estacionamiento donde los carros eléctricos llegan ahí, pero no hay donde un buen restaurante que haya ahí, no hay suficiente para eso. Y es lo que estoy viendo que se quemó el restaurante bueno que estaba, se quemó la pizza buena que estaba ahí.
So he's making a comment to our shopping center, where the Tesla chargers are at. There was a pizza place that was very popular, burned down, hasn't been reconstructed yet. And he's saying that he would like to see it back up. So people that are shopping there, especially like people are going to charge the cars, have a nice restaurant to go to, and that would attract more people to go to that shopping center.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, as a Tesla driver myself, I find most Tesla chargers are isolated by themselves and a huge missed opportunity for a lot of places that I would go spend 20 minutes again getting that drink or that snack or maybe even pizza if it made sense. I think that's great. Thank you.
Place there's ice cream and drinks and things like that. When school does get out, it is packed.
Yeah.
The line is long.
Do you know what, is that a local spot or is it a national? Okay. Cause I think down by like Little Caesars, it was pretty packed a couple months ago when we drove at like 3 o'clock. And I don't remember, is it around Little Caesars?
Yeah.
Okay. 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 Great. Do you know the name of it off the top of your head? Anybody know the name? What is it? Got it?
Yep. I spelled it completely wrong, but I've got it.
We got it. We got it.
What about entertainment? Where do the high schoolers and the children go? Do they leave the city? Or do they have anything to do other than go to the parks? Like,
Oh, the trendy ones are going to get picked on here. Here we go.
I know that I would typically go to, sorry, I would go to Soledad maybe to go see like a movie, like the movies. We would go there, or Starbucks, yeah, just yeah, Starbucks.
Do we
Yes.
no theater here in town?
no.
No.
Yes.
I'm no high school student, but
Well,
yeah, I don't stay in town. I would like to, but most likely Salinas or Paso, just to go to get a drink, especially at night. It's our downtown is very dead at night. So at 8 a.m., 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. it looks like a dead town.
Okay.
Most businesses are closed by that time. So if you want to get a drink, you want to grab something to eat, it's either fast food or you go out of town.
And this maybe keep the mic. This is a question I ask, and it's kind of dovetails more into organization, but across the board, do businesses downtown have the same hours? Is it like you got to Google and find out, or you got to be here for 30 years to know, like, oh, I know the schedule of I mean, serious, as a passerby or as someone who's going to charge my Tesla and go or whatever, like if I have to pull up an encyclopedia or Google just to know if I can go get a smoothie or not, I'm just going to pass and go to the next big town and get that. So across the board, you guys feel like the downtown businesses are at least on a similar, like, it sounds like they close early, but is it pretty similar? Like sometimes in the downtown, it's like, oh, that's our favorite Chinese food place or whatever, but it closes on Tuesday. And it's like, oh, it's closed on Tuesday, right? Especially when the data suggests to the big day. But are we pretty uniform on hours?
I would say yes, because they normally do specify when you either ask Siri or Google from your data. But they're very consistent on either closing at the same time, or some will stay open a little bit longer if they're variety stores downtown. I know one of them closes about close to 8 or 9 o'clock. I know our Dollar General closes at 10 o'clock. So if you kind of know specific times where you need to go and grab something because you need it right now, you as a local, we can do that versus somebody who's traveling. They're probably not going to know. They're going to have to pull up Google Siri just to see what's even open or available at that time of the hour.
Okay. And I'll just say to anybody listening is anybody here, does anybody own a business downtown? Okay. For anybody who might be listening to this later or online, I'll tell you one of the most impactful things you can do to your business today is make sure your Google information is true and honest and matches your actual information, like your store hours, stuff like that. That is hugely important for you to get business or not get business. So if you're listening, update that Google. Okay. Any other questions or any other thoughts on ideal visitor? Okay. All right, let's keep on going. Let me sum that up real quick because I heard some like we need more people with more money. I heard on the phone that we need opportunities for people 30 or greater, although you only sound 25 on the phone, but so we need opportunity for high schoolers as well, right? So we've got to work on all three of those kind of age groups of those breakouts. Okay. What are some different types of local arts, culture, nonprofit groups that could be more involved with the downtown's vitality? Maybe like a Rotary Club or something like that. Think about, my wife is from Exeter. Has anybody been to Exeter? Murals everywhere, right? Like I can't go to town without my wife's grandma driving us to all 17 murals and telling me a story about each one of them, right? And as lame as it was the first couple of times, it's so special now, right? Like it is something that now that every time I bring a new grandchild there, it's like we're taking them through that same trek, right? So think about where are opportunities that we could step up the public art or, different groups that are already pretty active downtown that
They're talented local artists that can be engaged in the community and helping create some local art.
We have a lot of historical sculptures on or architecture on our streets. If we can get into a theme where we can bounce off each other and tie each other, it ties in together, whether it's the awnings, whether it's the painting, whether it's the murals, something that ties all of the community, as in, I go into big cities and I love to go to their old towns and they all have a similar, like they've gotten together to decide, let's all beautify every single building. It's not like every other building or this one on one block and then another one, another block, but they take care of the window displays. They take care of whether it's wood or paint or awnings or the sidewalks, the trees, the banners. There's this theme across that makes you want to continue walking down the street. And when the theme is over, you turn around, go to the other side of the street and you walk back to the other side.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I think of a ton of different cities when you mention that, but you're exactly right. That's a concerted effort. That's what I'm talking about. A lot of stuff behind the scenes. Even it's a downtown business group. It's a group of owners and individuals that say like, this is what we're going to do. One of the things that I do in every downtown, when I get about 5 minutes out, 5 miles out, I shut off Apple Maps. I shut off Google Maps and I see, can I get to downtown using wayfinding and signage? I could not here, right? It's not uncommon. There is a welcome to Greenfield, and enjoy our hospitality, hotels, RVs, stuff. I think restaurants, but as far as like finding downtown, you got to work at it. You can't just stumble upon it. You can't just follow the wayfinding signs. So that's something that we're talking about. But when I did drive the downtown, I said to myself, what is the theme? What is the one thing that stands out? The one thing that stood out to me the most, big red letters. Almost every building had big red letters of their name, right? And I was like, that's, I don't know if that was a concerted effort or just happened to be like one guy's like, hey, here's where I got my neon sign, and everyone else went and got it too. But there's big red letters on some signs. And so, as we dive further into design, that's some stuff we're going to talk about is while we want people to maybe brush up or revitalize the front of their building, We don't want to just go grab pink paint and paint neon pink over here, neon green. Like we want a color palette. We want something that like stands out and is unique to the city, but represents the city and the culture and stuff like that. So those are things that we'll talk about too.
The city does have downtown design guidelines and standards, which do include a color palette. And I think it's can be utilized to have a vibrant downtown. So we have a lot of beautiful businesses that are either purples or blues and pinks. And I think that could help draw people to come be visitors in our downtown when it's colorful and bright, and especially because it's very bright here seasonally as well. So those colors reflecting off of the buildings.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. Right here. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So yes, we are part of the Rotary Club. You have the president here and the vice president. And going back to the designing and beautification, we, as a Rotary Club, we are open to the public. Whoever wants to join us, more than welcome. We meet Tuesdays at El Michoacano Restaurant, every Tuesdays at 12:15. And we're there to pretty much, just collaborate and see how we can better, not only the city, but other neighboring cities also. We're nonprofit, we're all over the world. And one thing that we have brought up to the table is collaborating with the high school. Homecoming is a big thing in neighboring cities. And I know last year they did a small little parade, which was small, it was their first year, but we thought it was cute. And other neighboring cities, they have larger floats, bigger parades with more businesses, joining them, not only the high school. And then they also, the neighboring cities also decorate windows. They go to businesses and they ask if they can decorate windows for a certain day, a certain color of that day. And that can beautify the week.
Right. Yeah. When you find a downtown that's really in step, like even things like a for sale sign in a window, if a shop or a store is for sale, it's a unified, this is what our for sale signs look like. And it's not for sale because that sounds desperate. It's opportunity here or something. But every business owner, every property owner uses the same ad that says opportunity here instead of, for sale, and so anyways, like when you see it really dialed in downtown, you see that.
I think that also you have to worry about getting people downtown. Now, if you're on the freeway and you come up Oak Avenue, it's not very nice looking. The streets are bad. There's weeds growing up in the pavement. Sometimes I've seen garbage cans in the front. People are driving on the lawn. That's what a visitor sees if he comes up through Oak Avenue. I think we need to clean up the city and get some renters or get some property owners, get them on board here now. So why would someone come back when they see that? Unless they know about this good restaurant or unless know about it, they wouldn't. I wouldn't. And I've lived here 95 years, so I've seen a lot, but I think first of all these ideas are wonderful, but we got to clean up Greenfield. Toilets on the front lawn, cars on the front lawn. There should be an ordinance against that. Garbage cans, and if the renters can't see that, then the someone owns that house, someone owns that property. And so that should be passed on. That really would. I know that there are multiple families living in a house, and they all have cars. So that's a problem. It really is. Where are you going to park the car? But that's your house. I mean, even if you don't own it, you live there. You should be happy to keep it clean. Garbage outside. No. Next time you're driving around Greenfield, and I would be happy to take you or Mayor White there on a drive around town. Next time you're driving around town, look and see, garbage on the streets and no more trees. It seems like no one cares. Everyone has done a wonderful job of building new schools, new parks out in the projects. But what about downtown Greenfield? This is where the roots are. This is where it all started. 100 years ago. So think about that. And if you clean up the town, then other businesses will come into town. Why should Walmart come to Greenfield, when it's just looks like a little tiny village? Thank you.
Okay, hey, thank you. Thank you for coming. She just did a mic drop on everyone right there. That was awesome. And I do I do agree that one of the reasons we focus on downtown is towards the end of this, we talked about collaborate, we talked about execute. When we're working with the city to execute on some of these ideas, if the city's doing their part to kind of help hold accountable the downtown, then hopefully individuals themselves say, man, if the city's doing it downtown, we should do it at our spot too, right? In our location. So that's great. Any other, I really want to hone in on this, any nonprofit group, any other groups besides like Rotary Club, but any other groups downtown or in the city that you think would be great to like jump in and kind of ask them to volunteer, ask them, pick their brains for more help and more effort, stuff like that.
Just for those who don't know me, my name is Aaron Chavez. I'm working with Councilmember Ortiz and Rosario Benavides over there, alongside with Cynthia Zavala and Stephanie Garcia, to go up and start up our Chamber of Commerce. And something that we're really passionate about is really just twinkling up downtown. We share the same doubts that everybody has, and we want to improve and change. So we're really hoping to get started and really help out as a nonprofit.
Love it. That'll be great. Okay. All right, let's move to the next question here. Oh, go ahead, Paul.
There are a variety of nonprofits in town, but it seems like they're all pretty much disconnected, whether it's the veterans, right next door to us, or there's some indigenous focus groups, the Lions Clubs here. It seems like everyone does their own thing. And there's in my mind, and it could be limited view, there's a lack of focus on Greenfield.
Sure.
And I think I bring it up because I think that's part of the reason you bring it up.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't get community without unity, right? And so that's one of the most important things that could come from this is everyone in this room can take an active part on, if we can vocalize what's not working well, we can all vocalize that all day long. It's how do we move forward, move past that, and put action there. I think that's great. We've got to bring the businesses, the groups together.
Yeah, I think, I don't know if any of my was really strong.
It's for the online.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, Mrs. Scona mentioned something about cleaning the downtown. I mean, there's gum stuck down there. I mean, I know the businesses downtown, they also need help. So you got to get grants because it takes funding to do it. So a lot of these nonprofit organizations also, it would be nice to help them out because it takes funding. It takes gas to get from point A to point B. So a lot of the downtown area, the sidewalks and whatever it may be, they need to be pressure washed. You have to keep it nice and clean. And of course, I know they're working on some organic stuff they can use for weed killers because they did away with the other stuff because somebody filed a lawsuit that it kills everybody. So, shoot, the state of California always approves things that like pressure treated wood in California. Well, that's carcinogen and they approve it. So, I'm just saying that the downtown needs to be cleaned up, and because they need help. They want it to look nice. I know they do. I'm a business owner myself. I was self-employed for 24 years. I'm an engineer with the state of California, but they need help. And the grants, that's one of the things that we did was, man, we had a great grant writer, go after some grants because it does take funding. Even if you just want to clean up a little bit of, pick up some trash, whatever it may be, it takes funding, so these nonprofit organizations, I'm sure they want to get involved, but it takes funding. Hey, you guys got snacks today. Maybe, hey, you guys, we'll buy you guys a lunch, help us clean up a little bit. But the downtown area, the sidewalks, they do need to be cleaned up. Because I walk my dog through there and I see a lot of gum stuck on the sidewalk. And, so that's a start. I mean, I have a lot of more ideas, but we'll be here all day.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, no, that's great. I mean,
yeah.
cleaning the sidewalks is a big piece of this, right? Like feeling safe outside, but also feeling clean and secure outside is a big piece of this. And so, so we'll talk more about that. But that's great feedback. And back to the high school again. Like, can we lean into the high school some more? Get some student action teams, get some student leadership teams. Like, take priority in our downtown. Take priority in those streets you're walking. And
The youth involved is very critical, very important, because they're the future. They're going to be running Greenfield someday.
100%.
You gotta give them. You gotta give the youth the space and that, hey, we show that we care and we're here because we've been through some battles, and so we're here to help you, to guide you, and prepare you for your generation. And that's one of the. I feel that that's in an area where a lot of us are failing, not only here locally in Greenfield, but nationwide. A lot of the older generations are also failing the youth because we're not preparing them to be leaders and good leaders. No matter where you stand, they need to be prepared because they're going to be running Greenfield in the future.
Sure.
So you touched a little bit on entertainment. We don't have any entertainment unless you go play soccer and things like that. And hey, I love playing soccer, but I think they want to watch a movie. We've lost some businesses here in town recently. There's other things that we've lost, and there's a lot of work to be done. So you need some of those ideas, fresh ideas from the youth, man. Get them involved as much as we can with us that we've been here. Like this, Mrs. Scona's been here for 95 years. I mean, that's a long time. But you know what? She's still contributing. She says, hey, maybe we can start here. It's just an idea. We can start here.
Yep.
But we got to prepare the youth. We got to give them their space to be able to say, you know what? I want to get involved. I have the strength physically, but also have some great ideas.
Online, Jonathan's iPhone has a question, so go ahead.
Yeah, because listening to everybody, I used to be on the Plannings Commission a long time ago, and a lot of different issues would always come up, and you would hear, what businesses we were getting or what we needed to do downtown for coding and zoning. And, a lot of it's coming down to, we need to start taking care of our downtown. If we look downtown Salinas, look at how they did that revamp of, giving it a little facelift where it gives it a little bit more nightlife. Here for us, it's, the only thing that looks very modern is our Starbucks, Carl's Jr. that we just recently got, and the La Plaza Bakery, which is more of that Spanish architect. Now, if we were able to figure out how can we make downtown look not so brightly colored, but still give it that rustic charm like the buildings should look like, we can go ahead and move forward. Also, our youth, we have a big youth in our town. So what are we providing for the youth? Our teenagers and high schoolers. There's really not a lot for them to do here. All we just catered to is, our elementary kids. And these middle schooler and high schooler kids have to go to Keene City to the movies. They have to go to the mall at Salinas for Northridge. They go to the movie theaters over there, which is Maya. We're not giving them the opportunities. We're not making them, our next future of Greenfield. These kids need something here to say, hey, I was born and raised here. I love Greenfield. Let me get more involved. And we're failing them. We're failing them as a community because we are gearing more to our younger youth versus this is what we should be shaping the youth of America to be going forward. So, we need more ideas for them. We need more businesses for them, that space to hang out versus Starbucks, they need other little things, but we don't have that here. And businesses do not generate enough to gear to them.
Yep.
Oh, good feedback, and funding is a big issue, obviously, like if you don't have the funds, it's hard to achieve much of anything. And so and these are can be some pretty lofty goals. So, the purpose of this again is to gather all this information and then kind of dissect it and go, okay, what's some low-hanging fruit? What are some things that the community can achieve now? Maybe that don't cost a lot that make a difference, and and take steps to get to ultimately where we want to go. But yeah, you need the money to do it. So very important point.
I don't want to be the only one. But the other, I just want to throw this out there. One of the things that a while back that I thought about was have, how would I call it? A day of promoting your business. You can bring out the best tacos or the best enchiladas or the best pizza and out in the sidewalk and to promote yourself. Hey, this is what I'm selling here, and have a sample of it. If you go to Costco, I mean, they have their samplers out there. I mean, you could probably eat, on Costco, but and I love Costco. I'm telling you right now, but they have a hot dog that they sell for $1.50, and they give you a soda so you don't choke on it for $1.50, right? And so they get you going in there for $1.50, and you walk out with $500 worth of groceries. So, that's a marketing gimmick right there. And then they have their chicken, their pollos for $4.50, and so their chicken is $4.50, and then you buy something else as well. And that's kind of what we're going to have to do here in town. I mean, just like Taco Tuesday or whatever it may be. But the day that, like, the manager said, July the 4th is huge for us because, it costs the city some funding to promote those fireworks, but a lot of people are out there doing something and they're buying food and tacos and whatever it may be. So maybe that day, maybe have a day where business is business day, and then everybody can bring out their good products and put them out in the sidewalk and promote their samples of whatever it may be, whether it's shoes, the nice shoes or whatever it may be. Like these ladies said, hey, we go to this one boutique and it's becoming like a trendy place to go, and maybe that's a good start right there.
Yeah, I think working with the city too to allow, there's a big fight against food trucks. There's a big fight, not necessarily here. I don't know. We haven't talked that, but like in a lot of places, they don't, the existing restaurant owners don't want food trucks to come and outplace them when they're paying rent. But like when we're going to do the 4th of July, if we shut down the streets and stuff, give first priority to the boutique to come have a mobile shop or mobile setup so that you're rewarding those that already open. But also we don't want to turn an eye to those potential future businesses, the entrepreneur spirit as well. Like you want to have things like during the 4th of July, you should also do a local brewery contest or a chili cook-off or something local. Folks that think they make the best beer or they make the best margaritas can test their hand, get some customers, and then say, well, maybe we should open a business here, right? And then we work with the city to say, well, how can we make that more achievable for that first-time business owner to open up, right? And so it's working together in a complete unit. But there were some misbeliefs on consumer habits. The longer you study consumer habits, what you're talking about with Costco, people come in for the hot dog, leave with $500. It used to be the belief that, if we have a shoe store, people are taking $500 and spending money at the shoe store. No, they're going to spend $60 at the shoe store, but then they're going to go next door to get their, their dresses or whatever. Then they're going to grab food. And so getting just a movie theater, that's not going to be enough, because when we go to neighboring towns, we can go to the movie theater, then we go to nice dinner, then we can go do some shopping, right? So we got to bring it all together and make sure that we're all, again, rising tide raise all ships. But sir, you've got a question or a comment?
Yeah. Some of you know me. Majority of you probably don't. I'm Jurgen Smith. I learned about Greenfield in 1974. Me and my parents, my dad was in the military, we were moving. And we were traveling up El Camino Real. That's Highway 101, okay? And back then, Highway 101 went through the middle of Greenfield, what is our El Camino. That means that road was busy 24 hours a day, okay? And when when the people moved the highway out of the city, around it, the city continued to expand, and now the city is on the other side. Now Highway 101 is in the middle, okay? All right. Everybody was shopping here, okay? And we're trying to get the traffic off 101 to come back into town, okay? That is going to be the money, okay? All right. What do I do right now? I run a business here in Greenfield, okay? I'm one of the 5. I'm the vice president of the school district. In 2012, you all voted me in. Thank you very much. And you welcome, okay? The budget for my school district at that time was $48 million. Since I've been on the board, our budget has grown to $88 million. And all the money is being spent here in Greenfield, okay? I serve the kids. The kids have parents. The parents live here. That is our community. That's where the money is, okay? 64% of my students are English learners, okay? So what is that? That's Hispanic, okay? That's more than 50% of the population here, okay? I have a suggestion, okay? We need to market that, okay? Downtown, we have all these little stores. They're all mom and pop stores, okay? Put some paint on it, make it look better, okay, from the outside, okay? Because who is actually going into those mom and pop stores? The Hispanic community, indigenous people, okay? We need to market that to get the people on the highway to pull in here because we are unique. We're the only city here in California that has that type of capability of marketing, okay? We got to have a sales pitch, and that is the sales pitch right there, okay? You go to Carmel. What it's all about. What are they selling downtown in Carmel? Okay, their stores are organized to sell that market. We need to have our sales pitch engage the community. Okay. In 1974, when I came through here, okay, it was in December. There was a snowstorm here. Me and my parents, we had a trailer and we had to pull over here on El Camino. And we parked our trailer at the old Greenfield Pharmacy, which is closed up now. Okay. And we spent the night there. Okay. That was my first introduction to this town. Okay. What brought me back over here? My job. Working in prison. I needed to get closer to my job site. And at that time, in 86, 87, this was the town where it was happening. Okay? Where's that model? Next door. It's happening in Soledad. It was happening over here. We can make it happen here in our town, in our community. Okay? What do we have here in town? We don't have a movie theater. We don't have a swimming pool. Okay? You got to go out of town for that stuff. Okay? We need to entertain our children. Okay? I'm very active out there. I had the capability of getting the 49er Booster Club to come here to Greenfield for the dinner and the cheerleaders to raffle off equipment to help with the dinner that they were going to have. And you know what? We were turned down. Who turned us down? It was King City, because the high school is run by King City. And they didn't want that to happen. So they turned down the Booster Club, and the Booster Club went elsewhere. We can still make it happen, but we got to get the high school. What do we have? Sports. People love sports. Get the people involved in the high school sports the football game, the basketball games, the softball games, the baseball games. Okay? There's nothing else happening here. So let's suck them into the high school. But we got to get to high school first before that will happen. It ain't going to happen as long as King City is running the high school. Okay? We all need to come together and be active in our community. Okay? We can make it happen. Okay? It takes a village to raise a child. Let's all work together and make that happen. Okay? Thank you.
That doesn't make you want to run through a wall. I don't know what, I mean, that should have given you the mic earlier. But a great point. If we're going to go after the high school sports, we got to make sure the businesses are open after the games, after the football game, after the baseball game, after the basketball game. Like, can they spill out to downtown and have, a margarita? Not the kids, but the parents, and can they have a fajita? Whatever. All right. Okay. Hey, this is great. Yes.
Sorry, we had a Facebook person, Mr. Aguilar, commented, we need places to take our families, such as bowling alleys, arcades, rock climbing gyms, gymnastics, trampoline park, and the beautification of downtown, but also fixing the streets and the signage.
That's great. That's great. So it sounds like family entertainment's a big need here. It's great. Okay. As you think about, yes, go ahead.
Have we thought about asking the kids what they want? Have we thought about going to the high school and asking them what they want? The parents are telling me what they want. The adults are talking about what they want. Sometimes we're talking from our past experience of things that we want, like a movie theater. I'm sorry, but movie theaters cost a lot of money. And for one person to go in, or what you might end up spending $20 to $100 just for one time. So I think we need to talk to the students themselves. Perhaps their generation needs and desires are so much more different than what I myself at my age, or even a 40-year-old, can figure out what a 15 or 14-year-old really wants. I mean, they're into electronics, they're into gaming, a totally different competition than football.
Yeah.
Not saying not football. I love football. I'm just saying, why don't we ask the kids what they want?
Yeah, I think it's
a great idea.
Yeah. That makes a ton of sense. I'm pretty cool though. I kind of know. No, just kidding. Remember, right? The data's not going to tell you I'm cool, but I'll tell you I am. All right. What other realistic California downtowns do you admire and why? Realistic meaning, could we get there in Greenfield? Now, it might take a lot of work, but like, what's a realistic downtown that Greg and I should study to say, oh, this is cool. This makes sense. Yeah.
I would say King City.
Okay.
King City has come a long way, and I lived there for about 20 years before I moved here, and they've come a long way.
Okay. That's one we wrote down, as a matter of fact. Anyone else? Anyone when you go out of town and you go off dinner for one night or shop, is there a downtown?
Hey, Matt, I have a question on that.
Yeah.
What changed in King City? So where did they start versus where they're at now? And
20 years ago, downtown didn't look the way that it looks now.
So
It's
the
big
aesthetics of
improvement. I would say the aesthetics of all the businesses. They upgraded a lot of the buildings. They added a new park recently. They've redone the Broadway, the pavement. They've done a lot of improvement since I was there. When I got there, it didn't look the way that it looks now. So I know it took some time, but it looks 10 times better than when I moved there.
And did the businesses come after that or kind of at the same time?
You know, businesses have, they've changed. But I think what it is because, I mean, one of the best places there is surf and turf. I wish we had that here. There's a lot of, there's a coffee shop that's not a well-known coffee shop, something that, hopefully in the future we can have here. That's not a Starbucks, but just maybe family-owned coffee place. I can't remember the name of it.
By the way, the
Hestia, there's another one too, Bloom, I believe. So there's several. There's a lot of new businesses too.
So just for what it's worth, this might be obvious. The easiest expansion to get in a downtown from a business perspective are the neighboring downtowns, the specific businesses they have, they're doing well. They don't look at these crazy stats and data that we have. They look for ease to open. They already know that their customers are coming from Greenfield. So this is an opportunity for them to expand what they're doing. They already buy their milk locally and source their stuff, and so that's a great thought, is to put a list together of like, these are great businesses in neighboring downtowns that we would love here. That's an easier phone call to say, Mr. Smith, have you thought of a second coffee shop right here in Greenfield,
Correct.
Matt, Jonathan's iPhone. Maybe we'll jump to that and then.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, go ahead, Jonathan's iPhone.
Did you have a comment question?
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
What I admire the most is like going to the Salinas downtown, it's really took that facelift, like I've said before. It looks more, all the older buildings, look more rustic charm, more modern, but they've started adding more businesses downtown, which is really nice. Like, I spend some of my times going to the Cherry Bean, which is one of them over there, hanging out with my friends. I'll go eat at some of the restaurants downtown because it still has that lively entertainment. Now, if we had to look at some of our neighbors, some of us still need that little bit of improvement, but we still gear to our townspeople still, but that's one of the ones I look at because it's one of our closer neighbors to us that we can take some ideas to be like, well, if they're doing it, how can we do it? And what is setting us back from doing this to giving all the towns a revamp, even us? Because even when you go to metropolitan downtowns, they look almost like if you're going into Salinas, some of their downtowns as well.
Thank you.
That's good.
My hand up, I still haven't figured that out. But I just want to say that I agree with both of the prior speakers with regard to King City and downtown Salinas, especially King City. I don't know when they did it, but it seemed like it was almost overnight. What they have that we don't have is diversity in business. I mean, you can go for a oven roasted pizza. They have tap houses. They have pork and plow restaurant. You can have a steak, plus the surf and turf. And also Old Town Salinas. They just cleaned it up. I mean, the light fixtures, the hanging plants, the banners, the overcrossing thing. It's enjoyable to be there. Recently, I was in Nevada, in a little city called Minden, and they had a teeny tiny downtown district, but it was spotless. It was clean, everything. I mean, it's an old city, obviously, but everything was painted nicely. The theme was vibrant. They had a park with a gazebo that I couldn't stop looking at because we have one too, but I mean, it was just spotless. There was garbage cans everywhere. The trash was picked up. They had a spray ground. I was like, wow, I've been in Greenfield a long time. I was just amazed. So I think cleanliness would go a long way, as well as modern fixtures. And previous speakers mentioned a theme. I think that would go a long way too. We need to be more inviting.
That's great. Thank you for that.
Okay, I want to mention this also. I had been waiting over 20 years for this to happen here in our city here. We're building a youth center that's going to be over on Apple and I believe 12th Street. Okay, it's going to be sitting on 10 acres. Okay, we're going to be entertaining our youth. Okay. Mr. Wood, is that going to be in my lifetime? I certainly hope so too, okay? I built a school in 12 months. $30 million, that's what it was worth on ribbon cutting day. We spent 24 million, and because we built it correctly, we got a refund of $12 million from Sacramento. And we took that money and did other constructions with it, okay? Without having to go out to the people and raise bond money, okay? Because that's cost us money, okay? It takes money to make money, okay? Mr. Wood, this is important, okay? When I got elected in 2012, I got a phone call. Congratulations, Mr. Smith. You're on the school board. Since 80% of the people that get on the school board have never worked for the school district. We have a program in the Department of Education, okay? Our city council, Mr. Wood, you could even participate in this, okay? This educational program, which is set up by the Department of Education in Sacramento, if you attend these 9 classes, you get a master's degree, okay? Master's in governance. What the heck is master's in governance? How to properly spend our children's educational money, okay? So I signed up. I took these 9 classes. As I'm attending these classes, I'm looking around. Where the heck is everybody else from Monterey County, okay? The last class that I attended, I saw a familiar face. Help me out, Mr. Wood. What is the mayor's name over there in King City? Mike LeBar. He was there at that last class. He was his last class too. We just never made connection because we were taking out of the 9 classes, different classes. Okay. So me and Mike's LeBar, we're sitting down, we're talking and stuff, and he's telling me, oh man, this is the greatest thing. This is since they invented the wheel, this is it. Okay. How to properly spend the money. The money is there. Okay. He tells me, I'm getting my master's right now. At the next election, I'm not running for school board again because I'm taking this knowledge that I learned because I'm going to run for the city. And he became a council member over in King City. There's a difference over there in King City. The mayor is elected by the council. And as soon as he got on the council, the whole council voted him in as the mayor. And he's still the mayor today because he's putting that knowledge that he learned how to properly supervise projects and make it happen and get the biggest bang for the money. Okay? Children, that's our future. Sports, we need to get that high school and use that sports as a marketing tool to get the people to come in here in town, okay? Because we don't have nothing else, okay, regarding activities. Oh, by the way, we used, our after-school program was limited to only a few students. I got the money. It's now open. After-school program is now open to every child here in Greenfield because we need to entertain our children. When that bell rings, they should not be out there running around in the streets, getting into trouble while the parents are out of town. What's happening at 6 o'clock at night? Everybody's coming back into town because their jobs are in Salinas or down south in that next town, Paso Robles, okay? Do I travel down to Paso Robles? Oh, no, because I don't think that highway is safe enough because if I break down, I might be in trouble, okay? So where do I go shopping? Salinas, okay? We need to have stores down here. We need to have a big box store in that shopping center over there by Carl's Jr. So that way we don't have to run. And so north, and we can locally put our money to work here. Okay? Yes, we need to widen Walnut Avenue. Yes, I agree with that. But there's a certain way it can be done. Okay? It can be done. I got a plan. We can make that happen. Okay? And with that Walnut expansion, we're going to be able to handle that traffic for that shopping center over there with a big box store. Okay? What do we got here on Main Street? Mom and pop stores. Okay? They're not going anywhere. Okay? Because 64% of our population is from south of the border. Okay? And where are they buying their stuff? Out here on Main Street. Okay? We need to be able to suck in the tourists to come in on Main Street to shop with them also. Okay? All right.
Thank you.
Question back there.
Earlier, Salinas's downtown was mentioned. One thing that I think that they do well specifically is gearing it towards many groups of people. So for instance, I know that at least once a month, they have a little art thing that has vendors there who sell earrings, face paint, and it's small and it's local and it's just a couple of tables. So now you're engaging many different people and bringing people to bring their creativity into downtown. Every Saturday, they have their farmers market specifically in their downtown, and they block off part of the streets. So it's, again, bringing in more businesses. Several coffee shops in their downtown have karaoke nights or performance nights. Again, bringing people out of their homes of all ages and groups to come and experience the different things. Like, I don't drink coffee either, but I'll be in a coffee shop hearing people sing karaoke in Salinas's downtown because it's a fun thing to do. And across the street, one of the restaurants also doubles as kind of a nightclub. So they cater to many different groups of people within their businesses, even if it seems like there's no reason why maybe a person who's of this age would typically be at a place like that.
Yeah, I think that's great. Cater to many different people and many different day parts as well, right? Who's out there during the breakfast crowd is different than who's out there at late night, right? And so, and then even lunch, brunch, and dinner, and you're going to have different walks of life, different types of families out at all times.
One of the challenges that we have at La Plaza Bakery is staying ahead of the game in terms of trends, customer trends. My son's 26. He's growing up on a cell phone and on a computer. And we're trying to adjust, trying to follow the customer trends. And it's strange right now. It's strange. And it's always a challenge because you can go to a Starbucks and pay $5 for a croissant, and we're at $3. But that generation is looking for something different. And it's a huge challenge. A bright spot for Greenfield is people in King City have a hard time with groceries. It's very expensive in King City. La Princesas are competing with Safeway, and they're both very expensive. So I see King City faces at our Rancho San Miguel, and I see a ton of King City and Greenfield faces at Foodsco. So you got those customers that are just looking at pricing. So it's always a challenge to stay ahead of the game, and this generation coming up is going to be very challenging, how we can cater to them. Because you got 20-something, 30-something that, they're paying $6 to get their Big Mac delivered. That's amazing.
Yeah. Or they're going to the Mesosphere and getting it online on their Fortnite. Are you the owner of the bakery? Yeah. Okay. I'd love to, at some point, have a follow-up with you where we can dive into some data. We've talked about some stuff earlier, like, could you have a membership program for the high schoolers? It's like $20 a month, gets them a bagel a week, whatever it might be, but like on top of that, I found this very interesting when I did look at the types of people that live in Greenfield, and I look at the way they respond to media. comparing email versus direct mail versus radio versus TV. Do you guys know what the number one way Greenfield residents respond to media? Radio. 4 times more likely than the average house in the United States to respond via radio. Are you doing radio ads at all?
Yeah, we're in DC actually.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Now that's not every household, but the most common shopper downtown is they're going to respond to radio, which I found with they're not going to respond to text ads almost at all, right? And so, like when you talk about going the new route, it's like, well, let's not ignore radio too. But those are some insights that we have that we can spend some more time on as well.
Radio station also. We do a little of everything. A little bit of Spanish and country also. Yeah.
And this is a question for the manager. I know we, back in the days where, don't go out the back door, buddy. You know where you live.
Let's get him a microphone.
Yeah. So, I know that back in the days in council, we're working on the revitalization of downtown. I don't know if that funding is a thing of the past. It's still there or it's coming back, but I know that we're going to revitalize the downtown, and I don't know if that's still an option. But one of the things I would like to say, you know, before I get your answer is, Paso Robles, I mean, they did a phenomenal job. I mean, they got sushi there. I love sushi, man. You know, I know that a lot of the youth, the new youth coming up, they love sushi. So that somebody talked about, hey, we need more diversity too, you know, to bring them. And then also, I wanted to make the suggestion of a doggy park. You know, you get those folks going through and they want to take Fifi or whatever for a little walk or whatever, or Waldo, whatever his name is, for a little walk around the park. If you could find a location, I know it's pretty tight downtown, but if we can find a location there where we can do it and make it nice, so that, you know, it's an inviting, so they can go and hey, and I think that would be a really good thing, because you could have them folks traveling and take them out for a little walk and do their thing, and then hey, you know what? There's some tacos here, some hot dogs, or some sushi, and you can get it, whatever it may be. You can go to Plaza Bakery, you can go to Rinconcito and get some tacos as well. You know. I might even open up a restaurant. We'll give you some more competition. I'm just kidding. Anyways, I'll take your answer there.
Yeah, great. Before you sit down, you look like a famous rapper, especially with that microphone right there and the sunglasses. I don't know. I'll go no further.
I'm not trying to hide. He doesn't like my shirts.
Oh. Very good. Well, thank you. Thanks for the question. Yeah, I'm gonna answer the dog park one. If a couple of years back, we got a grant for a dog park. We're planning it right now. We've been planning it to go at Patriot Park. We know that there's 2 sides to the freeway, and what we do on one side should be on the other. But at the end of the day, the idea of actually it being closer to the freeway makes sense. We don't have all the. It's a commercial, right? It's a commercial area, and we'd have to talk about, you know, getting the property and doing whatever. But just wanted to tell, there is, I don't know how much, I can't remember, 1.6 million set aside for dog park. Going back to the downtown, there was a draft plan for redesigning downtown that when I got here 7 years ago was kind of put off to the side. It was the vision of it at the time was more like what we've got with 900 Cherry. It's more of an industrial look. I'm not sure if that's what the community wants. Not having been here when that was developed, I don't know, but I think we need to go through the same community workshop as Matt was talking about. Let's decide what we want it to look like. And this, because this is your town, this is our town. We need to make sure that we buy into whatever's there. I don't know who bought into the other one, but I think it was at least 10 years ago, it needs to be redone. Yeah, okay. So, and there's always community development grants that are out there. We're doing things like widening Walnut Avenue with some of that money currently, but we do need participation on the 7-Eleven committee to actually make sure that the school district can sell that property to No. Okay, at any rate, part of it, we're waiting on that group to get together so that the district will approve it, so we can move things forward, just so you know. So this is really the beginning of the dialogue. It's also the beginning of figuring out what it is we want. So, heck, there's so much, like you said, Jurgen, there's a lot of money out there. We are a disadvantaged community. We're under 20,000 people. We are a target for where they send money. We've been getting money. We've been getting grants, and we're hopefully in line to get a $75 million grant for our wastewater treatment plant. Things are on the rise. We need to take care of public safety first, but I think with Greg and Matt's help and community development, economic development team here at the city, we can start building we're starting right now to try and build the foundation of doing it the right way. It doesn't happen all at once. And some of the things that we're hearing, we get it, but it doesn't, we need to start with the basics and kind of get it going that way. It's the first iteration of everything is not going to be where it ends, but it is going to be where it starts. And that's a big deal. So hope it answered some questions.
And I think too, I want everyone to hear this, that Paul heard me speak a couple years ago and was like, man, that's something we need to do in our city. And Paul both believe in re-engaging the citizens, re-engaging the business community, and doing this the right way. They could build a downtown for themselves all day long, but without your guys' feedback, that's why we're here today, is to hear everything that you guys are saying. There's been some really good stuff. Greg's taking about 4 or 5 pages of notes over there. It's really good stuff, but we gotta figure out what are dreams and what are realities, right? It's great to say we'd like a dog park in the Carl's Jr. parking lot, but it's like from a city ordinance perspective and zoning, like might not be possible. So we take what you guys dream, and then we're going to work with the city to say what's achievable. And maybe what comes out of this, it sounds like, I think no one raised their hand earlier saying they were a business owner until you came in. Maybe what we need is, our suggestion back to the city might be, let's buy some container trucks and let's make an artesian village out of one of the parks. I don't know what it's going to be. We'll go back and look at that, but how can we draw out more entrepreneurs? We've identified we need a lot of stuff. We need stuff for kids. We need stuff for adults. We need stuff for the middle ages, right? Like, we've identified we need a lot of stuff. Now, elderly, right? Family entertainment, but like, what do we do with it? How do we make space for it? And what makes the most sense, right? And again, that's where this is step one. We're about 4 minutes away from done here. We had 4 pillars we were going to talk about today. You guys had so much good information. We got through 1, right? So this is going to be, this is a big piece of this. And what we're looking for, what we're hoping, is that more people are so excited, so passionate about this, that it's not about what was built in the past. I'll tell you one thing that in city planning that I saw, COVID changed the game a lot. Okay. COVID all of a sudden made cities realize, wait, we can close off streets, and we can allow dining in front of, like on the street, like set up some temporary tables. And then some cities pulled away from that. Some cities saw such a big boom from the COVID, ordinances, that they left them in place. Like, those are all things that we're going to talk about. Like, you can't necessarily, as a business owner, you can't necessarily knock down walls and make more seating, more dining available, but could some of these businesses push into the street on certain Tuesdays or during the 4th of July? Now, those are things that we've got to talk about with the city, say what is allowable, what is safe, right? But it's very clear a paint job from time to time on some of these buildings wouldn't be a bad thing. They all get a lot of hard sun, right? But then, again, partnering our dreams with what's reality from a city planning perspective, that's where we're going to get to, the downtown that we want, the downtown that you all want. Yes.
We also have a comment on Facebook, but quick question. Is there going to be another workshop for those who couldn't make it today?
Yeah, I think we're gonna figure that out. We don't have it planned, but we'll figure something out for sure.
Matt, and I just want to say something really quick. you know, a lot of times cities will, you know, hire a consultant and they don't get the feedback from the community, and there'll be a downtown plan, but it's one that's maybe not financially viable, or it's not one that the community's bought into. And so, you know, these meetings are really important, but they can be tough sometimes because you know, you hear maybe some negative things, or you know, stuff that you don't want to hear, but you've got to understand where you're starting from, and then come up with an actionable plan and match that up with what can actually be achieved, you know, from a funding standpoint, or from, you know, availability of real estate, et cetera, right? So our goal is, you know, to take all of this and help put together an actionable plan, not one that's just going to sit on a desk somewhere because there's, you know, no funding available. It's what can we achieve within the parameters and the constraints that we have. And so that's the objective, and that's the goal. And so all of the input that we've received here is incredibly valuable. And we're going to capture all of that. So I just wanted to mention that really quickly.
And again, you've got city leadership that cares. That's a big takeaway for you guys, because without that, it doesn't really matter. Go ahead on Facebook.
Yes, someone said Morgan Hill has a very bright and themed downtown with restaurants having nice outside patios for families to eat and having community events in their downtown, catering to all ages. We should model our downtown like Morgan Hill.
Okay, there it is. Morgan Hill 2.0. Okay. All right, well, we are, I want to respect everyone's time. I know the council chambers here are going to be used heavily all day today and tonight. So it is 3 o'clock, and we appreciate everybody coming out and giving feedback and listening. This is an ongoing adventure. This is an ongoing task. This is a journey. What we hope to get to is some recommendations, again, like Greg said, low-hanging fruit. But that starts with this. So thank you all for coming out. Really appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you.